Hey everyone. Well, this is my second channel. I know you guys have been saying that I should start a second channel. Well, I had to. So, here we are. I'm still going to be using my same email address. Okay, so you can still contact me at my same email address. Everything of importance will always be in the description box below. Okay, so there's no need to worry about new email addresses and stuff like that. Okay, um, but you know, I I still don't understand why they did what they did. I'll never understand it. Um, but uh, they did it, and that's that. So one more, and they delete me altogether. Yeah. So uh, it's probably going to take me a while to get up to where I am on my other channel. Who knows? But let's just hope that it I don't get another strike on the other channel. You know what I mean? So, I just want to jump right in and talk about this. Okay, this article was sent to me by a subscriber from the first channel. um, and it's about what's going on in Lebanon. Um, and it's getting bad over there in Lebanon. It really is. So the article starts out like this, okay? I never thought I would live to see the end of the world. But that is exactly what we are living today in Lebanon. The end of an entire way of life. I read the headlines about us, and they are a list of facts and numbers. The currency has lost over 90% of its value since 2019. 78% of the population is estimated to be living in poverty. There are severe shortages of fuel and diesel. Society is on the verge of a total implosion. But what does this all mean? It means days entirely occupied with the scramble for basic necessities, a life reduced to the logistics of survival, and a population that is physically, mentally, and emotionally depleted. I long for the simplest pleasures, gathering with family on Sundays for elaborate meals that are unaffordable now, driving down the coast to see a friend instead of saving my gas for emergencies, going out for a drink in Beirut's Mar Macau Strip without counting how many of my old haunts have shut down. I never used to think twice about these things, but now it's impossible to imagine indulging in any of these luxuries. I begin my days in Beirut, already exhausted. It doesn't help that there is a gas station around the corner from my house. Cars start lining up for fuel the night before, blocking traffic. And by 7 a.m., the sound of blaring horns and frustrated shouting from the street is fraying my nerves. It is nearly impossible to sit down to work. My laptop battery lasts only so long anyway. In my neighborhood, government provided power comes on for just an hour a day. The UPS battery that keeps the internet router working runs out of juice by noon. I'm behind on every deadline. I've written countless shame-faced emails of apology. What am I even supposed to say? My country is falling apart, and there's not a single moment of my day that isn't beholden to this collapse. Nights are sleepless in the choking summer heat. Building generators operate for only 4 hours before going off around midnight to save diesel, if they're turned on at all. Every few days, there's a new low to get used to. One recent morning, I was needed to exchange some dollars to buy groceries, chiefly bread. At the exchange shop, there was a long line of people because the dollar rate was slightly down. There had been rumors that the new prime minister was close to forming a new government. At this point, such news is like a joke. We've been without a government since the cataclysmic port blast on August 4th, 2020. And the three prime ministers delegated by parliament to form a government, since they have failed to do so because of infighting between political parties. The same ones who brought this country to ruin. Still, all markets are susceptible to a rumor, and whenever the dollar rate goes down, people flock to convert their useless Lebanese lira into dollars. Once I had my money, I headed to the supermarket, and on my way, I encountered a tiny old woman sitting on the pavement. I wanted to give her some money and a bottle of cold water, and I went to 4 shops before I found one. This was how I first learned that we are now also facing a shortage of bottled water. The week before, I discovered that there was a shortage of cooking gas. After our canister ran out, I had to make a dozen calls and pay 5 times what it once cost to replace it. While cooking gas is vital, the shortage of bottled water is an even bigger disaster in a country where most Lebanese believe the tap water isn't even safe to even cook with. I read about it later. There isn't even enough fuel to power the machines forming the plastic bottles or the pumps that fill them. No fuel for the trucks making deliveries. And likewise, there is little bread to be found. There was none at the big supermarket I went to that day, which was entirely dark, lit only by emergency candles. The meat, cheese, freezer sections, all empty, because there's no fuel for refrigeration. I asked for bread at every shop I passed, and in the end realized I had to just go to a bakery. I avoid that street as much as possible because the bakery is right next to that gas station. And gas stations are our new front lines. Scuffles break out because there are always too many people fighting for too little fuel. Again, the scorching heat doesn't help. Sometimes gunfights break out. People are killed. In a car, one of the poorest areas of the country, a fuel tanker exploded in August as people scrambled to fill their vehicles. The death toll was 33 so far. Quickly, I wound my way through the shouting and shoving crowd, which included a good number of armed soldiers trying to manage a situation, and made it to the bakery. I bought the last bag of bread. The people who work there told me they live in fear of a gunfight or explosion at the gas station, so they have barricaded the window closest to it with metal shutters. The walk home was harrowing. There are no more traffic lights, and hence no more traffic rules. Scooters race in all directions and on the sidewalks. I have arrived 3 hours after I left and climbed up 12 flights of stairs. The elevator stopped working months ago. I'm utterly exhausted. There is no respite or safe place anywhere. In hospitals, they're depleted and on the brink of shutting down, and cancer treatments are no longer guaranteed because the central bank cannot finance the subsidies that allow hospitals to import them. There's barely enough fuel to power ventilators. And friends with children live in terror of their kids getting even mildly sick. My friend's son developed a fever recently, and there was no medication in the pharmacy, no ice for a cold compress. Social media is filled with pleas for medication. Someone's mother has a heart disease, desperately needs medication. Someone's father is diabetic, needs a replacement insulin pump. Does anybody have anything stashed away? Is anyone coming in soon from abroad and able to bring some? Psychiatric medications, too, impossible to find. Many of the pleas for medicines I encounter are from people already going through withdrawal symptoms. Not long ago, Embrace, the National Suicide Hotline, announced it was closing down temporarily because of the extended power outages. People are dying from treatable ailments such as scorpion stings and fevers. Severe cases of food poisoning are increasing. With so little refrigeration, nearly anything you buy risks being contaminated. It's hard to figure out what to eat. I plan our meals around 3 or 4 items, mostly non-perishables. Bread is one of the few safe things. At every turn, I must remind you, I am one of the lucky few. For every hardship I'm living through, there are those who have it worse. I have 4 hours of generator power a day. Many have none. I am able-bodied enough to climb up and down the stairs every time I need to leave my apartment. The elderly and disabled, they're imprisoned indoors. I work from home. I don't have to forego work altogether to spend entire days lining up for fuel. The monthly minimum wage is now worth less than $50. While the price of food alone has risen by more than 500% over the last year. 500%. The listing of privileges is not merely a conscious clearing exercise. It's how we all try to remind ourselves that things could always be more unbearable, so complaining is futile. The standards by which normal or acceptable living conditions are measured have long been discarded. People with the means to do so are leaving. Every week I say goodbye to a dear friend. Beirut, as we once knew it, is now gone. Even during the 1975 to 1990 Civil War, the city enjoyed a certain cachet. There was shelling, but there was also glamour, a zest for life like an electronic current. But now the strips of nightlife are mostly shuttered and dark. During the war, there were ceasefires that permitted some rest, however fleeting. But in a world run on fossil fuels, what life is possible when there are no longer available? What life without electricity, cars, cooking gas, the internet, drinkable water? There's no break from this kind of economic warfare, because that's exactly what this is. Fuel and medicine, though scarce, are not entirely unavailable. They are unattainable, hoarded by politically connected individuals and organizations, likely to be exported or sold on the black market. In a world where the maximalist pursuit of profit is supreme, such behavior is simply the way the system was built to work. Lebanon is not an exception. It is a preview of what happens when people run out of resources they believe are infinite. This is how fast a society can collapse. This is what it looks like when the world as we know it ends. So, this is it. This could very well be our normal here soon. On my other channel, on Autumn's Backyard Garden, I did a video on Beirut. No, sorry, Bosnia. I'm going to possibly do an updated version on Bosnia. Matter of fact, I might just do that in the next day or so. So this, because of everything that we are going through here as a country, because of our economy, I have been urging my subscribers on my other channel to stack it to the rafters. Invest in silver, okay? If you haven't started to preserve your food by pressure canning or dehydrating, Mylar bags, oxygen absorber packs, please, by all means, start doing that now. Okay? Learn how to do it. I hope that this does not happen here, but the writing is on the wall, is it not? All right, guys, that's all for this video. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless.